think for most of us, there are probably areas of our homes or our lives that can be revisited to see if it's in need of a reorganization or a spring declutter. It's been a rather busy few months for me, and it's led to some places that I usually have super organized to be a little less tidy and overall neglected. So I wanted to make a video going over the things I'll be decluttering right now for instant simplicity, or things I've decluttered in the past that have inspired simplicity and that I recommend one try out. Here are a few things to declutter right now for instant simplicity. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, frugal living, tech, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like, and please have the subscribe button, wear a Manchester United shirt, and then drop them off at Anfield Stadium. Let's get started. Expired and unused items. Thankfully, I try to make it a point to only have what I definitely know I'll use when it comes to things like food or medicine, but it's only natural for some of these things to slip through the cracks over time. With things like bread and fruits, for example, I'll throw it into the freezer to extend its life and make sure to eat produce before it's bad. But for other specific items in the home like sunscreen and batteries, I make a point to declutter them responsibly. And living in Florida and having to deal with hurricanes pretty regularly, double checking those batteries and other emergency items and their expiration dates has become sort of an annual routine. I recommend going through the pantry and the fridge, as well as the medicine cabinets, to see if there are any forgotten things in there to declutter and create a little extra space. By doing this, I'm sort of able to create a mental note of what I've used in that time period to adjust my spending habits for those items to see if I should be buying more or less of a particular item. The next thing on this list is paper clutter. And I feel like paper clutter might be something that just accumulates for the lot of us. Things like junk mail, old receipts, and outdated paperwork are the things that sort of find their way into the drawers of our home. I had a surgery last summer and it led to me having a lot of paperwork that I just held on to, even though I had electronic copies of everything as well. Since I'm fairly certain I won't need physical copies of these are things I'll shred and declutter. Every year when I renew my car registration, the previous year's registrations would just pile up in my glove box. So this is an opportunity to get rid of that as well, not to mention the opportunity to go paperless in these areas if I'm able to. I recommend if there are paper items you're unsure about, but want to get rid of it, it's really easy to just scan them into PDF documents to keep and come back to if needed. Most accounts that I have, like my bank account for example, all offer options to go completely paperless, stopping that paper clutter from coming in the mail. Old, completely used clothing. I no doubt keep my clothes for as long as possible. I've been legitimately wearing the exact same t-shirts since about the end of 2021, and I would say they're holding up rather well for the most part. But there definitely comes a time where things need to be let go of, specifically things like socks and underwear. When my socks get holes in them or the foothole gets too stretched out, I'll declutter those. And although I haven't had to declutter any shirts for a pretty long time, when the time comes that they are no longer able to be worn comfortably, I do still plan on using them as rags to sort of breathe a second life into them. And I did actually read that idea in the comments a long time ago. I haven't forgotten about that. There are a plethora of things that could be done with old clothes besides using them as rags to declutter them responsibly, like simply donating them. Unused blankets, pillows, or towels. Something that seriously makes me so happy is when I can give something to someone that I know will get a lot of good use out of it, more use than I got. We somewhat recently got new blankets for the bed, and my girlfriend had the idea to donate the old blankets to the local animal shelter, which I had no idea you could even do, and I thought it was an awesome idea. We kept some of the things in the house for when we have guests, but that in itself is an extremely rare event, so the thought of a dog or a cat being cozy on something we donated is really just a pleasant thought. Something I even started doing when a blanket is pretty much on its last leg is just keep it in the trunk of my car to sit on at the park or the beach to extend its lifetime a little bit. This is another area I feel like a lot of us might have more than we use, so it's definitely worth checking to see if there's anywhere items we have can be better utilized by someone else. The next thing on this list are the just in case items. Now, I want to start by saying there are definitely exceptions to this. When I say the just in case items, for the most part, this means the likely will never happen or the what if items. These are the things I held on to for events that might happen once a year or less. Before I became a bit more disciplined with it, I feel like the best way to avoid hanging on to these items and to declutter them was to assess my real needs and be honest with myself about what I actually needed versus what I've kept out of fear or habit. My recommendation for deciding whether to keep just in case items is using the 1-year rule. If you haven't used the item at all in the last year, it's likely a safe thing to just let go of. And like I said before, there are definitely exceptions to this. And the first thing that comes to mind with exceptions are emergency items and supplies, because the whole point of those are those what if scenarios. Old or unused electronic cables and parts. Out of everything on this list, this is one that really stands out as something I feel so much better about after decluttering. Things like duplicates of charging cables, batteries I'm not even sure are good anymore, have somehow found their ways into random drawers or other areas that I frequent. And these items are particularly annoying because yes, they take up space. They're also typically in the way of things that I'm looking for. I know some people may prefer to keep every single wire that comes with every device that they own, but when it comes to a phone charger, for example, I have one in my car and one on my desk, and for me, that's sufficient. And when it comes to my USB-C cable, for example, the one I use to plug in my laptop to my monitor also charges it and can charge any other USB-C device I have, so I'll just keep this one. I recommend taking some time to go through these unused electronic items, consider what you use and don't use, and organize them according to keep or declutter. Photos, texts, and apps off my phone. I'm gonna make an updated video pretty soon on decluttering my entire digital life, where I go into more detail about my exact process. But in regards to having instant simplicity, decluttering my phone and digital life is highly important to me. Whether it's for work or personal reasons, chances are we are all on our phone several times, perhaps even several hours a day, making it all that more important to have this area organized or decluttered. Things like text threads, duplicate photos, old notes, and screenshots are usually deleted or sorted through on a weekly basis for me. I get verification text message codes whenever I log into certain accounts or when I log into my computer at work, and those just pile up annoyingly quickly. And sometimes I screenshot things I want to remember for later. So just setting some time aside to go through these and make that decision to delete it or see if I still need it just makes my phone a little less cluttered and a lot less annoying to go through. I recommend just setting aside a few minutes every week or so to go through the nonsense that's piled up on your phone and delete it to see how much better it actually feels. These are just some of the things and the ways I've decluttered to simplify my life instantly, and I hope you got some value or perhaps even inspiration for your next decluttering session. And if anyone can count how many times I've said declutter in this video, I'll pin your comment because I feel like I've said it about 1,200 times. Anyways, as always, I appreciate the time you spent here and I really appreciate you watching. If you did like this video and you like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.